Good evening once again and a very warm welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Gloria Mutesi. The Ministry of Health appeared before the Parliamentary Committee on Social Affairs to explain why 2,137 people were employed without licenses from their medical practice from authorized bodies. As Fiona Mbabazi tells us, the National Public Service Commission report includes the general situation of staff recruitment and management in all public institutions for the 2019-2020 financial year.
The 2019-2020 report of the National Public Service Commission reveals that the Health Ministry hired 2,137 unlicensed employees to work in the health field. The chairperson of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Social Affairs in the Chamber of Deputy, Mwangaire Christine, recalls certain errors prompted legislators to summon the Health Ministry to give clarifications. It is first noted that there are people who practice the profession of nurses and midwives without the license issued by the body of doctors and nurses, and then there is the problem of people who work without the equivalence of the diplomas. That is to say, people who have studied abroad and whose diplomas must be approved to be able to work in the field of health in the country. Third, there is the problem of people who do not have letters of commitment, and finally the problem of nurses, some of whom do not have letters of commitment as well, or whose files are incomplete. Explaining virtually before the Social Affairs Committee, the Ministry of Health said that it is a decision that in consideration that the health practitioners in question would be given time to get their licenses in due process. But some 112 did not get licensed and were suspended from the job, as explained by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Yakaramye Zacchaeus. The other problem of nurses and midwives who were hired, especially in 2018, without the license issued by the regulatory body, and the Minister gave explanations on various problems that the body of doctors has known, not allowing it to propose in time assessment tests when there was a need for staff in hospitals. With the agreement of the medical corps, the ministry made the decision to hire them and collaborate with the corps to prepare evaluation tests for them to be licensed without, however, shutting down the health services. Meanwhile, the Executive Secretary of Rwanda's Public Service Commission indicates that errors in the recruitment and management of staff has reduced over time. The difference from what was done before is that now public bodies apply the law on recruitment and management of personnel. Even if everything is not perfect, even if in this report errors relating to the recruitment and management of staff have been observed, but the difference is that there are fewer than in the previous years, and those that are committed are not significant. The personnel management is very careful to apply the laws. The National Public Service Commission report includes the general situation of staff recruitment and management in all public institutions for 2019-2020 financial year and outlines recruitment errors that different public agencies have made. Reporting for RTV, I'm Fiona Mbabazi.
Thanks, Fiona Mbabazi, for that report. Now, away from Kigali, onion farmers in Rubavu district have been decrying losses for the last few weeks due to poor storage facilities. As part of the measures to help onion farmers in Rubavu district to cut losses due to the lack of a market for their produce, it was decided that 3,800 tons of onions would have found buyers in 2 days, either on the local market or outside the country. Ethan Tashovia now reports.
Meeting involving officials from various sectors in Western Province, staff from the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, the Ministry of Trade, and onion farmers in Rubavu district. It was revealed that about 3,850 tons of onions were harvested from 6 of the 12 sectors that make up Rubavu district. The meeting decided that the produce would be categorized according to their size from each sector, the time it was harvested, for it to be sold in real time without damage, and to determine the size of onions yet to be harvested, as explained by the Executive Secretary of the Western Province, Uwambaje Maria Florence.
Regarding the fields where the onions are planted, it requires more precautions because the harvest is in 4 categories, including the onions that have been stocked for long, which are likely to go bad, while some are yet to be harvested. We have asked farmers to ensure that they are ready for harvesting and taken to the market.
The ministries in charge of agriculture and that of commerce have been asked to review the onion seeds supplied to farmers in the area in relation to area's soil texture. Farmers also asked officials to provide storage facility after it was discovered that the drying machines available in Busasamana sector was found to be of poor quality. Although some farmers are happy that their problems have been addressed, they also want more attention to be paid to the price of onions on the market.
If everything goes as agreed in the meeting, the farmers will have hope that their crops can have a secure market. The Ministry of Trade has reassured us that they are going to find a ready market in Kigali.
The Rubavu District Mayor, Habyarimana Gilbert, assures farmers that the produce will be delivered to the market without any intermediaries between the farmers and the buyers, who are known to interfere with the market price.
We will work together without any intermediary. It is now expected that agricultural products will leave farmers' fields directly to traders in the market.
This comes at a time onion farmers in Rubavu district have been complaining that onion dealers in the markets of Goma, in Democratic Republic of Congo and elsewhere across the country have been devaluating prices of onions at their storage facilities, hence farmers incurring losses only for the middlemen to inflate the price when it reaches the market. It is said that a 100-kilogram sack of onions buys between 1,000 to 3,000 Rwandan francs at the farm, but sells around 15,000 Rwandan francs in Goma. Reporting for RTV News, Ethan Tashobia.
The shortage of milk formula for children has caused concern to some parents who say has led to a rise in prices, hence resorting to giving their children cow milk. Experts in nutrition say that regular cow's milk can be consumed by children less than 6 months of age, but certain instructions must be followed. Across Kigali City, traders point out that milk formula for children is no longer available on the market and prices have risen. We started seeing a shortage in powdered milk about a year ago. The non-refined milk was the first to be scarce. For a year, we couldn't get it and it completely went off the market. So we remained with one type called the France Lait, which also got done after a while. Even when prices went up, we still couldn't get it. Now parents are looking for it, but in vain. Breastfeeding mothers, especially, and those that have twins where breast milk is not sufficient. Feseha Tem, the head of finance and operations at ERI Rwanda, says that the importation of Nan's baby milk has been reduced because it would expire in the warehouse. The COVID-19 pandemic has also led to the delay of imports reaching the country, but they hope by April it will be available.
We do import this Nan brand baby milk powder. It's a Nestle product. We have been selling until just about end of this last year, but unfortunately it got finished. The one we had actually, because it's normally it's a slow moving. Our brand is a slow moving. We had some stock, but it got expired by the end of the year. So since it is a slow moving, we didn't have another one in the pipeline, but we have an order. But because of this COVID, also the production is also somehow a little bit, they delayed this, the supplier. Well, hopefully we are waiting to come as soon as possible. Actually, according to our plan, it was supposed to be loaded by the last month, January, but our supplier, they have also their own issues. They couldn't load last January, so they are loading this February. So we are hoping by the end of, by mid April, we are hoping to get it by mid-April.
Nonetheless, some parents say they choose to use regular cow's milk and believe it gives children a better quality of life. My child used to take the non-formula milk, but now they take the regular cow milk because we used to stay near a milk collection center. My child didn't have any problem adjusting. There are some parents who say cow milk would cause their children allergies, but mine adjusted well with no issue. It's true what people say that cow milk has sustained us for a long time. Nutritionists point out that cow's milk already has the nutrients needed by babies, but it has some components that might pose problems to babies less than 6 months of age. For children especially, it's important to add water to the milk, as we know there are components or protein in cow milk that can pose challenges to babies. That's why it's encouraged to give the babies the formula milk and do what is known as fortification so the baby gets all the nutrients. But in cases where the parent is unable to get the formula milk, they can add water and dilute the protein in the milk by adding 1/3 of water per liter. Parents are advised to breastfeed their babies, especially in the first 6 months of life, as it is deemed important for the health of the baby. After the first 6 months, parents can give the baby other foods including milk. Based on the capability of the parent, some parents give their children the powdered milk even before they are 6 months old. The residents that have been working on the classroom building project in Tumba sector in Huye district have said that it's been 7 weeks working without getting paid, yet the sector used to pay them every week. Now these residents say that the sector officials promised to pay them, but still they haven't gotten their money. Gislaine Mugwaneza has the details.
Rwanda and Amizero primary schools are the new schools that were built in Tumba sector in Huye district to solve the problem of children having to make long trips to school. However, the residents that have been working on this construction project say that they have not been paid since last year.
Everyone tells you to wait. Waiting was the only word they used to tell us. Some worked badly and others stopped working. That is how it ended. When he came to pay us, he told us that he will be paying us on Sunday. That is how some of us got discouraged and others kept working. We waited to get paid on Sunday and we didn't. It stopped all of a sudden.
These residents say that they used to get paid every week, but all has suddenly stopped. They claim to have contacted sector officials about the delays. When we go to ask for our wages, they tell us to ask from sector's office. Where the sector says that they gave money to our chief, the chief says again that the problem is from the sector. They keep telling us that we will get money on Monday. The sector tells us to go to schools and we keep waiting for money until we don't get it. After spending 7 weeks without pay, these residents say life has been difficult because they are not able to meet their daily demands. Meanwhile, Rwanda and Amizero primary schools have started receiving school-going children in the area, despite the fact that some structures are still unfinished, including kitchens and toilets. Tumba Sector Executive Secretary Vital Migabo says that those who build the schools will get paid not later than Thursday this week.
It was found that someone provided the wrong account number and the money had to return back. But this was all corrected so that he could have his money. We cannot say that that is a debt, because no one told us that he did not get paid for all these months, and would like to inform them that all the requirements are met so that they can have their money tomorrow.
According to Tumba sector officials, the residents to be paid are 66, and they should be paid over 1 million Rwandan francs.
And residents in Rubavu district near Sebeya River say they are tired of the constant damages caused by the flooding of River Sebeya. Last night, flash floods burst River Sebeya, destroying homes and property worth millions and displacing people living near the river. Martina Avera has more.
At a joint meeting involving officials from various sectors in Western Province, staff from the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, the Ministry of Trade, and onion farmers.
The Sebeya River burst into banks, flooded the shore, and water began to flow into people's homes, even in their fields. Nyundo, Imirenje, and Rugerero sectors were the worst hit, with about 8 houses demolished so far, although their numbers are still being collected. It is also a problem that the population has been affected by. They say they are tired of having their houses destroyed by the floods because it affects their development, and they think that a lasting solution to this is to relocate to the outskirts of the Sebeya River. If only someone can shift me from Sebeya, it would be the best thing for me right now, because at this point I'm fed up of constantly building as my house gets destroyed. Even if they give me cement, all that will need workers that I can't afford to pay right now. The mayor of Rubavu district, Habyarimana Gilbert, says that up to now it is too early to know the extent of the damage, as it affected 3 sectors, which is Nyundo, Kanama and Rugerero. Nevertheless, there are activities that are being done in order to continue to maintain the Sebeya River Basin, despite the fact that much is still needed, according to Mayor Habyarimana. Some locals, however, find the projects to be similar in nature because they find that some of the activities they see that are being put in place cannot provide an everlasting solution, such as placing sacks that cannot reduce the flow of water down the slopes of the Sebeya River. This morning, residents affected by the disaster returned to the area to pick up some of the property that was not taken up by the floods. In schools around the Sebeya River, students did not attend class and say that their teachers made them repeat, and they fear that it will have a ripple effect on them.
We apologize for the voice overlap at the beginning of that story. Now moving on, rice farmers in Bugarama Plain in Rusizi district are pointing fingers at factories that process the rice for not buying their produce.
Bags full of dried rice scattered on the burn sites all over the Bugarama Plains. This rice that was harvested in December 2020, but to date it has not been purchased yet, and fingers are now pointed towards the factories. They don't buy from us as they used to. They only buy a few bags and they go. We have a lot of rice but no buyers. They just buy a few tons and that's it. Most farmers say that the factories could have gone broke, while others argue that there is more to their story. We do not know what's going on, but they say that it's because they don't have money. It must be a scheme so that the prices can go down. Factory owners, on the other hand, however, deny these claims, but say that they began buying the produce late, with a promise that in months' time all will be solved. They are lying. We're not broke. We are buying the rice, but all this is because they harvested late. But also we have issues with the roads. They took time to release the prices, and that's why it has taken time. Sometimes we get wet rice and would not buy that. However, the roads were spoiled, but we are buying the rice and they should not worry. Head of the rice farmers in Bugarama, Mukasine Drossel, says that the investors will buy the rice out in a period of 1 week. Officials say that out of 3,600 tons harvested, at least half of this has been bought.